Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Wozniak with Woz Marketing, and we're very honored to have with us today a very special guest. Joining us today is Paul McManus. Paul is the co-founder of More Clients, More Fun, which is a digital marketing company that is focused on LinkedIn lead generation. Say that 5 times fast. His certifications include COPE Health, Dale Carnegie, Toastmasters, and Book Yourself Solid Coaching, as well as certifications in customer value optimization, email, and content marketing. Paul has helped thousands of coaches and consultants and small business owners reach their business goals through strategic marketing. And today, Paul is offering us the opportunity to learn more about his Booked Solid program through his free webinar, which is entitled 10 Points Checklist to Getting More Clients Using LinkedIn. And to go after that incredible offer, you can go to www.moreclientsmorefun.com/free webinar. So welcome, Paul. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Lisa. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to be doing this interview with you.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Paul, you were the CEO of an incredibly successful office supply company for over 11 years. What motivated you to walk away from all of that and start your own marketing company?
Right. I sometimes ask myself that same question right now. Yeah, the short story is that the company itself was my family's company. It had been 3 generations. We'd had it for 100 years. And so to your question, what motivated me to walk away from it was I simply saw where the industry was going. I'm sure a lot of people watching this are familiar with Staples and, even Amazon and different things. And so trying to make money, be a profitable business in that industry space as an independent dealer is doable, but just incredibly challenging. And so, even though we did, probably close to $3 million of revenue per year, trying to stay profitable year after year was just so challenging. And so I kind of, during that process, I was looking for solutions, and I happened across Michael Port's program, Book Yourself Solid, and I was immediately attracted to it. And I became I joined that community. I eventually became a certified coach, but I describe it as a paradigm shattering experience. And so everything that I thought about, business and life up until that point in terms of marketing, what's possible, that opened my eyes, to a completely different level about what value I could bring to the marketplace through my skills and my experiences. And I made the incredibly difficult decision to walk away from this 3rd generation role running this company and to start out brand new as essentially a business and a marketing coach.
That is impressive. Yeah, the courage that it took for you to make that decision is just astounding. So now let me ask you this. What surprised you most about working with coaches and small business owners in private practice?
I chose to dedicate my current business, which is More Clients, More Fun, to working with private practices and especially executive coaches and business coaches and other types of coaches, just because I really like supporting people that make a profound difference in other people's lives. And I know, for example, so people for yourself, I know that you help mental health professionals as one of the groups that you help. And there's something so satisfying about taking these, skills and knowledge that we have in terms of marketing, in terms of business, and being able to very successfully and systematically help people reach their own business goals, but applying that to people that do make this incredible difference in other people's lives. Versus where I was before, which was, I sold copy paper, I sold ink and toner, as much as I wanted to, say that this made a big difference in people's lives, it was hard to get excited about that every morning. And so I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of the results that I help my clients get because I know that they're doing good in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's something so rewarding about knowing that you've really made a difference, that you've impacted, the lives of other people. So to that end, as you started to work with these incredible people, what surprised you the most about some of the challenges that they were facing that you maybe just hadn't realized was an issue before?
Sure. The kind of the common challenge I see for the people that I work with that are in private practice, and this is, executive coaches, and this is, people that are highly credentialed, people that have gone to school for a long time. They might have a PhD. They're very smart, and they have a lot of credentials. And the biggest challenge that they tend to face is that those credentials in and of themselves don't get them more clients. Depending on the profession, that's the entry point in order to be able to offer your services, but it's a completely different skill set to be qualified to offer your services and to consistently and systematically enroll clients into your business. And so that's really the challenge that I help my clients overcome, which is, how do you take all this potential, all this, capacity to help other people, and how do you turn that into a thriving practice for yourself?
That's an excellent point, because as I'm listening to you talk about that, I can really see that from both sides of the equation in dealing with private practice owners, whether they be highly credentialed executive coaches or medical professionals as well. You have, on the one hand of the equation, you have the strategy of getting more clients, butts and seats, as we sometimes say, right? Getting more clients, but then from the other standpoint, I know that there are a lot of medical professionals in private practice who are needing referrals from other doctors, referrals from other medical professionals or other mental health professionals. So how does the power of LinkedIn and your program, More Clients, More Fun, help them achieve that?
Absolutely. So, a couple things that you mentioned there, which are just great points, is that there's different ways to bring on new clients. And regardless of how we do it, what tends to be the easiest way and the most effective way to generate new business always comes down to relationships and referrals. And so, you and I are both in the digital marketing space, online marketing space. And so, yes, there's a ton of tools to take someone that doesn't know us and to lead them to becoming a client. But there's also the shortcut to that, if you will, is to have people that refer business to you, because essentially what you're doing then is there's a transference of trust. You don't have to prove yourself each and every time to every new prospective client if there's a doctor or if there's someone like that works with these people and their clients have a need for your services. If you can position yourself with that doctor as an example, as kind of that go-to source for your services, that is the easiest way to build your business. Now, the question is how does LinkedIn come into this mix? And what I tell people is that LinkedIn is simply a tool. So, it's the modern day telephone. Back before the telephone, right? People trying to drum up business, they may have gone door to door. They may have done these kinds of things. Then the telephone, made it easier to get in contact with people. There was a phone book, if you will. Now LinkedIn simply takes that to the next step, because LinkedIn is simply a tool, but it's one of the most effective tools that there are today for service professionals to grow their business. And the reason that is because practically all professionals have a LinkedIn account. Not everybody, but most people, if you ask your professional network, are you on LinkedIn? I would guess that 4 out of 5 will say yes. That's different from them necessarily being active on LinkedIn, but most people can be found on LinkedIn. And that provides us with the ability to do a couple things, which is first is to identify who those people are that we need to get to know. Who are those, if you're a mental health professional, who are those doctors? Who are those OBGYN doctors? Who are those general practice doctors that you want to have become familiar with you, so that when their patients have a need, you're the person that they refer their business to. So LinkedIn becomes a tool, and it's a tool in the sense that I was just doing some research before we got on this call, and if you go to LinkedIn and you can divide it by industry, and you choose the industry medical practice as an example, there's 3.8 million people that are under medical practice. Now, of course, that's way too many people, but let's say you serve your local market. You can easily use this tool called LinkedIn to sort down to who are those OBGYN or those general practice doctors that are in your local area. Now, we know that doctors, as an example, are very busy people, right? And so it's not always easy to get in front of them. But by the same token, oftentimes these companies have a company page, and so you can get to know not only the doctor themselves, but you might have an assistant, you might have an office manager, or different people in these roles. And so if you know how to easily, very, very easily, within seconds, if you will, or minutes maybe, identify who are the companies who are the doctor's offices that I want to build a relationship with, who can I find on LinkedIn, so that I can now reach out to them in a very effective way and start to build a relationship. If we go in, we don't recommend that you go in there with this sales mentality and try to pitch your services and try to do these things, because practically nobody responds to that. I mean, and the easy way to determine that is that, I always ask people this, because once they think that they need to be in the sales role, they get all weird, right? Their brain stops operating and they get all weird about it. And the easiest question is that for any direct outreach that you send, ask yourself the question, would you respond to it? If you got this message, would you respond to it? And if it doesn't pass that test, then ditch it. And so what we teach people as part of our program is not only how practically to tap into this tool called LinkedIn, but we also show people how to build genuine relationships of trust with people that are business relevant. Those are the key things, is that LinkedIn's a very effective tool. But ultimately, to be effective in our marketing, in our business building, our business development efforts, we look to build genuine relationships of trust with people that are business relevant.
That's so powerful. There are a couple of things that you had said here that I just really tapped into, because they got me all excited. The first of which is that people traditionally tend to think of LinkedIn as this just resume storing website, and you just go and you post your resume there, and then nothing ever happens with it. And people don't think of it as a means of referral, generating referral business, or as a means of lead generation, if you will. And the thing that I love so much about what you had said earlier is the transference of trust. Mm. As you build relationships with people, and that's what it's all about, is that transference of trust. And as you're able to build those relationships and get that transference of trust, it just seems to be a natural extension of your personality to achieve more clients. Mm-hmm. As a result of that. Because, whether you're a coach, or whether you're an MD, or whether you're a mental health professional, or a nutritionist, nobody wants to go into that office cold like that and do that sales pitch that you talked about, right? I mean, doesn't that break us all into a cold sweat having to think about doing that?
Well, and that's the biggest challenge about, most of the people that I work with is that they're, kind of going full circle. They're very talented, credentialed, capable people that are very smart and can serve their clients well. But when they decide to become an entrepreneur versus working for a company, that puts us all to one degree or another in the role of sales, marketing, business development, no matter how you want to define it. And so those are some of the skills that we all need to learn to do. But, most of the sales education out there will teach techniques and strategies and stuff that ultimately people don't want to do. They feel icky, they feel sleazy. And ultimately, if we're telling ourselves that we need to cold call people, or we need to, close these sales, or, whatever the terminology is, chances are is that you're not going to do it. If you're not going to do the activity, you're not going to get any results. And so that's the trap that most people find themselves in, unfortunately. So what we teach as part of our More Clients, More Fun program, which is really based off of the Michael Port's Book Yourself Solid system, is that the key to shifting that is that you have to really like the activities that you do to generate more business. And what happens as you create activities that are effective, but you also that are in keeping with your integrity and your personality, and are not getting you to do something that goes against that, you end up enjoying doing these activities. And the more you enjoy these activities, the more and more you do, and it creates this virtuous cycle that leads to more or less a predictable result, which is more clients, more patients, more, et cetera.
That's perfect. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I love that, because most often what I hear from private practice owners, again, being coaches or otherwise, is that, something I spent, the past 6-8 years of my life in college and going after the degree that I now have that I love so much. I don't know how to do this kind of stuff, this lead generation and the sales calls and stuff like that. And quite honestly, I don't want to learn how to do that. I don't, that's not what I'm doing this for. This is not what my life's passion is. Right. This is not what I'm put here on earth to do. And I love the fact that you had said that, if you're able to position people into focusing on those activities that they love, it becomes a natural extension of who they are, and then it becomes automatic. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I would love to hear how this approach of yours is impacting the lives of private practitioners.
The results are good. I will give two specific examples. These are some current and recent clients that I've had a chance to work with privately. So one, his name is Shane, and he's actually he has his own boutique financial firm. So he's a financial advisor, but he's a private practice, if you will. And we started working just in April, so about 8 months ago. And he recently told me, because we're doing a case study on his results, that when we started, he was doing about $300,000 worth of income for himself, which is fantastic, right? I mean, a lot of us aspire to doing that. But since the time that we've worked together, that he's now anticipating having over $1 million worth of sales income for himself, based on the work that I helped him achieve. Now, this could be an outlier, so this could be an extreme example, but it's also, depending on your business, and, to me, private practice includes, most of the professional service firms that, are independent, that, make their own decisions and are professional service firms. To me, that's kind of my definition of private practice. And so for someone like him who sells something that can be, that can create the significant return, it's simply a matter of how do you build those relationships with the right people so that you can create that kind of opportunity. So that's one example. And another example of just a recent client that we've been working with, his name is Scott. He's an executive coach, very talented person. And he's been working with us for our Done For You LinkedIn lead generation. And in the case study we just did about him, he talked about how he now has, since he started with us, around $300,000 worth of business, specifically because of the results that we helped him create. And so, that's, those are a couple of the, highlights I wanted to share, but that's what's possible. If you're good at what you do, you have a business model that makes sense, and you know how to essentially market your business, and generate the leads, and take someone from stranger to friend to client. The sky's the limit. I mean, those are the kind of results that I think most of us got into being entrepreneurs for, is that, yes, we want to be independent. Yes, we want to be our own boss, but we also want to make money. And so when you tie those things all together, that's where it gets to be, as I call it, more clients, more fun.
Absolutely, absolutely, very well said. And on the other end of that spectrum is Deb Legge, who also uses a similar book yourself solid approach, and has received national acclaim for her mental health professionals that she works with as well. So it's absolutely a proven strategy, no matter where you are on the professional spectrum. So let me ask you, Paul, you've helped thousands of private practice owners achieve incredible success. So let me ask you, what's next on the horizon for you?
It's just continuing to build my own business. It's continuing to, just take it to the next level. It's continuing to create more value for our clients in different ways, whether it's our group program called More Clients, More Fun, whether it's our done for you services, whether it's private coaching. One of the specific things that we're working on right now is we're going to be launching, one of my partners, Joanne, we're going to be launching a new program about creating case studies to help grow your revenue, because we found that, the assumption is that you do great work and that you have clients that will rave about you. That's the assumption. But when you have that in place, when you can capture that in a case study and you have the client themselves raving about you and talking about the results that they've gotten, for any of those professional service providers, private practice owners that have the challenge of people that are, potential clients that are on the fence. In other words, they've made the relationship, but the person just isn't sure if they're going to move forward. We found that, using case studies the way that we do helps people get very quickly off the fence and saying yes very, very quickly, because ultimately why people buy something is that they have typically they have a problem, and so if they see that you are a person that can help them solve the problem, they like who you are, they resonate with your values, and you provide really just overwhelming evidence of your ability to help them get what they want, then it becomes an easy question for them to say yes to, because they don't doubt the results.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that in mind, you have an incredible offer we talked about very, very briefly at the top of the interview. You're offering a really generous offer for a free webinar to our viewers. Can you talk a little bit about what they can expect from this webinar, and what are the best ways for them to get in touch with you if they're interested?
Sure. Yeah. No. It's very the webinar. It's really a lot of our best content. We've distilled it down to our 10-point checklist. And so whether you're brand new to LinkedIn and you're trying to think about how to use it not as a resume dump, but actually as a business owner, as a private practice business owner or a service professional trying to build your business, this free webinar will show you exactly what you need to know to start to do that. So it's 10 points that we talk about, and it really will help you understand how to use LinkedIn to build your business. And anyone can watch that anytime if they go to moreclientsmorefun.com /free webinar, and it's an on-demand webinar so that you can watch that anytime you want. I'm also very happy, I quote unquote hang out on LinkedIn. And so, if anyone that's watching this wants to send me a connection request, I'd love to be connected with you. So simply send me a connection request, and you can find me on LinkedIn if you type in Paul McManus.
Fantastic. Well, that's an incredible offer, and we thank you for your generosity. Holy smokes. I encourage all of the viewers who are watching this now to take advantage of Paul's fantastic offer and take the first steps to booking your own private practice completely solid within this next year. I think that that's a gift you owe yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
if you're a business owner, let's be successful.
Absolutely. There's plenty of room for everyone at the top, right?
Yes. There's plenty of room, and that's really, as I know you can attest to, Lisa. That's the approach that we talk about. Is when you're doing this with other people that you have shared values with, and you're having fun in the process, then the more people at the top, the better.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much, Paul, for taking the time to be with us today. It's really been a great privilege for me, and we look forward to seeing more about your upcoming events in the future. So thank you again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.